And we are live. How we doing, everybody? How the heck is everybody doing? Guys, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I got a text from Steve. He's about 5 minutes behind, so I'm just going to get things kicked off, and he'll join us here in a couple of minutes. This might easily be the worst sports card live stream that you watch today. It has been a week so far, and it's only Wednesday. Only Wednesday. It's been a beast of a week. Can everybody hear me okay? Please throw in the chat if you can hear me, just so I'm not like accidentally muted or just went live accidentally or something like that. If you could just let me know. Sam D, what is going on? Thanks to everybody, too, that joined me on Saturday morning for a random live stream. That was actually really fun. Just going through my eBay buys. I'm going to do that probably here and there. Trent, what's going on, brother? West Texas Cars, Cards, and Comics. Whisk Collectibles. See what you did there. Nicely done. Philly Joe, good evening. Steve running late per usual. Yeah, this week has felt like we've already been through 7 days, and it's Wednesday evening. It's been an absolute monster. I won't talk, don't worry, I won't go too much on the boring family stuff, but my wife's uncle passed away, and her grandparents moved from Ohio to North Carolina, and they require overnight care. And so she's been doing kind of the back and forth thing where she's been doing the overnight thing, going to work during the day. It's been absolutely nuts. And then I've got the kids here. It's just managing all the things. It's been a beast. So, but we'll get through. We will get through. Mike Petty, what's going on? Sounds great. Look terrible. That pretty much sums it up. That pretty much sums it up right there. Phoenix Rising, good to see you. And Mike, I know that you're pretty pumped about my Derek Carr cards that I think you were on that live stream, or maybe you commented on it. I don't know. If you didn't see that, Saturday morning, if you go back on my channel, I did my recent eBay pickups. And there's a bunch of stuff in there that you would not approve of. So feel free to heckle me if you'd like. It's all good. Mike's the I bought vintage before everybody else guy. He's that guy. All right. Let me just double check something here on the back end. I'm going to try to not run ads on live streams moving forward. I don't have it now. YouTube might run ads, so you might see ads on here, but I did not. I'm not monetizing live streams. So hopefully that's helpful just as far as people being able to properly watch and all that stuff without there being too many breaks in between with ads. But we'll see. I don't know. YouTube can throw ads on whenever they'd like. They can do it. Okay. Make sure I did all the things. I did all the things. Okay, cool. Where am I? Here we are. Phoenix Rising. Brett, what is going on? And for those that are just joining, Steve is coming. He gets off work like right now, so I'm sure he's changing and doing all the stuff before he jumps on. He'll be on in a second. Raiders fan, he's great at killing the clock. Yeah. So the one thing that I saw, and actually if you're a Raiders fan, maybe you can speak to it. Derek Carr in his, 9 years in the league, he's never had better than a top 20 defense. And with football being the ultimate sport, plus playing in the same division the last, 5 years with Patrick Mahomes, as well as Herbert the last few years, just not a fun division to play in. Now he's in the weak NFC South, although we'll see. There's so much parity in the NFL. Maybe the NFC South will actually be halfway decent. We will have to see. We absolutely smoked the defending champs this last Sunday, the Chiefs. Sorry to all the Chiefs fans. I know you're suffering. Don't even talk to me about how it's just preseason. I know that you all care a lot and that you're devastated. Bob is buying up all the Wonder Francos. Those are all those Wonder Francos that are selling right now on eBay. That's all Bob. Bob is scooping those up. Clay, what is going on? What is going on? I've been buying all sorts of different things, guys, a huge variety. I actually just ventured out into a different space. It's vintage non-sports. We'll throw it. We'll put that out there. I'll share more on the next off-centered, kind of what I was thinking with it, but that's been kind of a fun little rabbit hole. Except the Raiders. No QB has ever done that. Yeah, but I feel like that's just kind of coincidental to where he just so happened to have faced all the teams and whatever. I mean, it is what it is. the Raiders organization too, and I mean, maybe you'll disagree, but since Al Davis passed on and leading up to that, really, that organization as a whole is kind of bumbled along, in my opinion. Sonny Jurgensen. I know what the gun show with Derek Carr. He's in shape. He's in shape for sure. Yeah. Steve's realm of collecting. Yeah, no, he doesn't even know what I've been into. It's really been the last 24 hours. I've ventured into a new space, a new rabbit hole. But yeah, we'll talk about it over the next couple of weeks. Yeah, and Steve's been he's been getting into all sorts of different things too. If he ever joins, we can talk about it. He will. Oh, he just texted me. What is this? Oh, he's saying the link isn't working. Hold on. Steve, if you can hear me, I'm texting you back. Hold on. He's making excuses that the link isn't working. This is a convenient way to just say I'm tired. That's fine. I like how too at 9:08 we're figuring out the link. All right. Let me go back to this thing. 1 second. Sorry, guys. I just have to get our boy Steve in the mix. Here we go. Oh, let's do it this way. Sound effects. This is hold music. Okay. Oh, are you in it now? Hold on. Steve said that he's in. He's in. All right. Here we go. What's up?
Have you been live?
Kingpin? Yeah, I've been live for about the last 8 minutes.
8 minutes?
Yeah. Everyone's shuffling in. Everyone's shuffling in.
Oh, my God. I apologize that you guys had to have him by yourself for 8 minutes.
Did you want to throw it on your channel too or not?
Yeah, I guess so. Why not?
Yeah. It'll probably kick you out, but what's new,
will.
right? What's new?
It will.
Swaggle, what's going on, man? I've been enjoying watching your shows, especially the flamethrower one. So even if you're not really that interested in comic books, check out Swaggle House. Swaggle House. I was born in Germany, so I can appreciate this. Swaggle House Comics and Games. He has he created his own comic book, but he also has this cool intro thing that he did where he had to burn some excessive copies that were bad or something. And he actually used a real flamethrower. So check out Swaggle House Comics and Games. Great channel. All right, Steve. Kicked yourself off and you're back in. I don't see your little channel popping up though.
Because I have to enter.
Oh, you haven't done it yet? Okay.
I don't know why it doesn't let me do this ahead of time.
Oh, it does. You just weren't here.
No, I've been on ahead of time before. It doesn't let me. Because it won't let me set a thumbnail up and stuff until the chat is over with, until the stream is over with. It's going to be over before we get started.
John Williams is always calling for Kim now that I did all the national content with Kim around. Now John just wants to see my wife. That's how this thing rolls, you know. Well, I'll try to bring in some more Kim content, John, for you. I would love to have Bob Boozle on. That would be fun. That would be really fun. The punch out clip. Exactly.
So what have I missed other than 8 minutes of...
I was just talking about my week. It feels like a full week. It's Wednesday, and I feel like it's been 7 full days.
Has it been eight minutes of...
It's been me complaining for 8 minutes.
Oh, God.
All right. Are you logged in yet or what?
Yeah. Let's see.
I don't see your little clip, your little channel clip thing.
Trying to spell your name out right
this
here.
Is like my parents trying to figure out the modem, or whatever.
No, I don't know what was up with the link that you gave me. The first time it accepted me on, and then when I went to log in my camera and microphone, it kicked me off. And then I tried to go back to it 3 separate times. It kept saying there's something wrong. So finally. All right, we should be good, right? We should be gravy.
All right, so how was work, dude?
Singer. How's work? Did you say work?
Didn't you work today? Or were you on the couch for the last 8 hours and then you're like, oh, I need to get on this live stream?
No, today, let's see.
You were like my 17-year-old son.
I'm off on Tuesday, Wednesday. So I got up at like 8:00 this morning. Me and my wife and my dog, we took the Jeep to the beach and did some bird watching. Yeah, I know. And then
bird watching.
So we go, there's a place, I live on the beach, so I can go and see like bald eagles. Yeah, bald eagles and ospreys and just all kinds of cool birds. We do it. We can take the dog out to get the dog walking, and so we just look for birds while we're doing it.
Crazy.
And then came home. It was hot today, so we got in the pool. Then went grocery shopping, had dinner, came home, took a nap, woke up, watched The Matrix 1, 2, 3. Went to the post office and had an order from SGC.
Nice.
And took a nap. Yeah. And here I am.
Sweet. Well,
ready to rock. Huh?
You went bird watching, and I went to a 50 Cent concert last night. Little
concert. Yeah, I heard about that.
I think that's probably why I'm so tired, because it starts. So we got there. It's pouring rain, thunder, lightning. And I'm like, there's no way that they're gonna call this thing. No way.
Was it outdoors?
Yeah.
Oh,
outdoors. There's a covered spot, so we're sitting out there in like the lightning and all the rain, and the lady at the box office is like, hey man, for $5 a ticket, I'll upgrade you and you can have your own seat. And I'm thinking like, I'm going to upgrade and they're going to cancel it like in 5 minutes. But I'm like, all right, what the hell? So go ahead and upgrade it. And we got really good seats. They ended up doing the concert. After all, it just started like 2 hours later. So got home and to bed at about 1 a.m. and then up at 6 to get the kids ready for school. So,
hey, yeah, I'm back to work tomorrow. Work has been like, man, since returning from the national, work has just been stressful because I started a dice class. So I'm teaching a class. So I leave the casino floor for 2 hours a day to go teach a class in the classroom, which is a craps class. And then I come back to the casino floor. One of the local casinos near us removed their live craps tables. Basically all their craps tables now are electronic. And so we're getting a huge influx of dice play, which is great for business. But sometimes we have staffing issues. We can't get enough tables open. So now I'm teaching a push them through it type craps class to try to get more staffing. And it's fun. It's probably like about the 30th class I've taught. So, I mean, I've taught them a lot over the years. But, just dived right back in after the national and have a real vacation coming up next month. About a month from now, the 20th of September. So like the Chicago, the national was like a vacation, but I don't call it like a real vacation because it was up early, go to the show, walk around a lot, be here, be there, where I just want to go somewhere where I'm just like, okay, I'm on vacation and I have no plans. So
Bob says bird watching. It's fun at KFC. They got them spinning on poles and dipped in sauce.
Yeah, I usually go down to the Amish market. We have an Amish market near here where I go down and watch the chicken spinning on a pole, like literally.
We got Merle World in the house. Merle? Yes.
Merle. Yes, Merle. Merle wants to get together he wants to get together and do a live with music cards, and I want to. And
he also told me he wanted to do like a show and talk about my collection and Stranger Things stuff, and I haven't heard from him, so calling you out.
I want to because I got questions for him about Type 1 photos also. Hey Merle, I need you to find me some cool Pearl Jam Type 1 photos.
Brendan, how do they vet slot machine maintenance workers? Good evening, fellas. Did you see the thumbnail or the pics that Brendan created for you?
Yeah, the ones you texted me.
Yeah, that was so awesome.
I couldn't tell who was I supposed to be like in the first one with the long hair, and
sometimes I don't know who the characters are. Yeah, sometimes I don't know who it's based off of. Yeah.
Well, it's funny because you've been doing the one where it has the clip from which Damn it. Which Leo DiCaprio movie was that where he has the glass out?
Yeah, the Wolf of Wall Street. Or was it Wolf of Wall Street? Or no.
I don't think that was Wolf of Wall, because I've never seen Wolf of Wall Street. I think that was a movie that I've seen, and I can't remember the title of it.
Which one is that? Yeah, where he photoshopped my face on it. Damn it. Brendan, what movie is that from? The Leo DiCaprio one that you made for me.
I can't remember.
The glass out. What is that? I'm drawing a blank too.
It's like I like
Great
Gangs
Gatsby.
of New York.
Great Gatsby.
Great Gatsby. That's it. Because I've seen that one. That's right. I like the Gangs of New York, and I like the Aviator.
Yeah, Gangs of New York is pretty intense. With that,
but you saw I posted on Instagram today. One of my recent pickups is a leaf cut from 2012 Leo DiCaprio autograph.
Yeah,
11. So I thought that was kind of neat. I mean, it's cut off a photo. Of course, you'd rather have a photo signed by him or something really cool signed by him. But when you're a card collector, even though it's just kind of thrown into this cardboard, it's still kind of like a card. So to me, I thought that was neat. Collecting the pop culture stuff, you know how it goes.
Yep, absolutely. Do you want to dive into that to start with, or how do you want to go over kind of your thoughts on that stuff?
On pop culture cards?
Or just like things you've been looking into, picking up or whatever.
Well, yeah. I mean, all my recent mail is right here in front of me.
I'm buying Derek Carr and Walt Disney cards. How about that?
Yeah, you got the Disney Wills.
Yeah, Steve I FOMO'd into the Walt Disney rookie card because Steve was talking about it. I'm like, I got to get in. I got to get one of these. Well, the problem with that card, though, it's not a rare card, but like I bought a 4. Like I bought a 4 for about $600. Like I saw like a 2.5, a 2.5 go for about the same price. You know, like they're all over the place price wise.
I guess it depends on your definition of rarity. I mean, if you go on eBay, you can find a handful of them graded. You find very few of them raw.
Yeah. No, for sure. I just mean like they're not. You know, I mean it's not
numbered, but
not numbered or short printed, but they're out there. But you're right. There's not a lot of them graded. There's not
a lot of them for sale. And even if you look at pop reports on graded copies, I mean, almost the total graded across all of PSA is about 500. I mean, that's not a big number when you're talking about Walt Disney. What is on the market as a Walt Disney rookie card for the popularity of it. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not big for what it is.
Yeah, but that's all the pop culture stuff, though. That's the thing. I think that's what draws you and me to it is that you look into anything and you're like, wow, there's not a lot of graded copies of any of this.
Yeah,
well,
but
not only that, there's not a lot of it for sale. And then on top of that, there's not a lot of graded copies of it.
Well, no, that's okay. So here's where I'm different on that, because I believe that I think there's lots of pop culture items, the statement that you just made that applies to, because it's just not stuff that people would think to be graded. In my opinion, the Disney 31 Wills is a huge card for non-sports. It's one of the most popular. Maybe it's the Jordan Fleer of non-sports. Maybe it's the 52 Mantle, since we got Mike Petty's name up here, of non-sports. I don't know if it's that caliber or not, but I know that for years I've seen that card at the National the last 3 years that I've been there for sale at a sports card show in different showcases, not many showcases, but it's a card that, when you see that card graded, you're not surprised, because it just makes sense that a Walt Disney, like I said, what would be a Walt Disney rookie card would be graded.
Oh, you mean for a pop culture card, you're not surprised that it was graded?
Right. Not surprised that it was graded. Now, Some of the pop culture stuff that I've been buying, I'm buying because I just believe that slabbing them, due to the fact that nobody else is buying them and grading them, will add value to it just by having a slab on them. The Walt Disney does add value because it has a slab, but it actually adds value because of the grade, not just because it's slabbed. I don't know if I'm explaining the difference there. Like, sometimes just putting a slab on something makes it worth more money. Because
are you talking about because it's older and it authenticates it? Is it more about?
No, just because there's very few slabbed. So for instance, I have a Peter Gammons. This is a Peter Gammons Topps Allen and Ginter autograph. If I slab this for $20, I think if it grades an 8 or better and the autograph is a 10, it adds more than $20 worth of value automatically.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? Just because someone would want to buy that in a slab without having to buy it raw and do it themselves. And if they like Peter Gammons and want to collect it, they're like, and they see a slabbed copy, more than likely they're going to be willing to pay $50 more for a slabbed copy than they are for a raw copy.
You think that's more so for like, so if we're comparing pop culture to sports cards, if you have a rare sports card, then you don't necessarily have to have it graded, like a encased, like if you have a flawless, encased card, like you don't necessarily have to grade that to increase its value or anything like that. So it's still going to have that demand. But do you think kind of for the pop culture stuff that maybe otherwise has never been graded, when people do see it graded, it adds like, do you think it almost is like, wow, this must be like, if people don't know about it, like, well, it must be something or they wouldn't have graded it. If you're someone that hasn't know about the space.
Yeah, kind of. It's hard because you don't, again, the type of stuff that we're talking about, you don't see a lot of stuff out there graded, but on the on the Disney stuff, on that Walt Disney card, the grade does add a value to that card. There's a big discrepancy between buying a 3 or a 4 and buying an 8.
Merlin, y'all get into Stranger Things, and then me and Steve will get into Hello Kitty. All right, go ahead, Steve. I just had to throw that out there to Merlin.
But you know what I mean? Like the number, the actual number makes a big difference on the Disney card.
You're talking about the not like the new Disney cards, but the
91, the 91. I mean the 31, the 31. Yeah. Oh, well, you're talking about a 4.
Yeah, it's a pre-war vintage card basically.
Yeah, so you're talking about a PSA 4 being in the ballpark of $500. That's a good buy at $500. 600 on a good day, 550 average, probably $50, $450 to $500 if you get a deal. And then you're talking about auctions on the PSA 8 reaching 4K. So
right. Oh yeah. Well, it's no different than other vintage cards.
Right. So the number does make a big difference, just like it does on vintage cards, like Willie Mays rookie cards and things like that. But we always talk about vintage cards aren't necessarily rare. Like if you go to a sports card show, you can go to this vintage dealer. They'll have multiple Willie Mays rookies or 52 tops. The 51 Bowman tends to be a little rare. Don't see it as much. Like me, I want a Koufax rookie. I want a Hank Aaron rookie, but I go from showcase to showcase to showcase, and all the vintage dealers have multiples of each. It's basically like pick your grade. This person has 5 Hank Aaron rookies. This person over here has 3. This person back here has 4. And it's just like, it's not a rare card, but there's enough of demand for it to keep it valuable. And of course, the grade is going to increase the value of it.
I will say though, on that note, is I feel like we get a warped sense too of supply. When you go to the National, you tend to see a lot of stuff, because it's such a massive show. I feel like it brings all the supply out at one time. So it almost gives a false impression.
Well, I mean, I go to the Philly show
and the Philly
multiple
show
times
too.
a year.
But when we were
at Chantilly,
that 51 Bowman Mays that you bought, there was some there, but I mean, there wasn't a lot there. And then when you
the 51 Bowman was more rare. At Philly, there was 2 vendors that had one.
And then when you break down how many of them look good and priced right, I mean, you're talking like a very small number.
There was 2 vendors on a heavy vintage show that had one, but there was a lot of vendors that had the 52 tops. That was ultimately what helped me make up my mind, was the amount of them that I could find. It just led me to believe that either there's less of the 51 Bowman made, printed, or left around, or there's just less of them for sale. I don't know. I can't answer that question. I don't know print runs, but if you're comparing vintage baseball to like vintage pop culture, that Walt Disney card is rare. You don't see nearly as many of that 31 Walt Disney as you do a 52 tops Mickey Mantle.
Right.
Now, the Mantle's worth a lot more money. It's more iconic of a card. It's going to have a higher demand and things like that. So the demand is there for the supply, drives the value of it up. There's not necessarily as much demand there, but there is less supply on that Walt Disney card. There's just more people collect baseball cards than they do pop culture. Yeah. But if if there was any kind of influx into the pop culture space and carried over, I mean, I believe that would be one of the first cards that people would target. Even if they're just collectors. And like me, they can remain sports card collectors like I am, but in my PC is my Walt Disney 31 card, right? So,
plus it's a good conversation.
It's in my PC, right?
That's a cool conversation piece.
You see more and more of the sports card collectors buying pop culture cards, but they're not buying them to resell them. They're not buying them to put them in their showcases. They're buying them because, as them being sports card dealers and constantly dealing with sports cards, they're looking for other things to put in their PC. And that's different. So
it's similar to the vintage Silver Age, Golden Age comic book folks. Because yes, you do have dealers on that side, but if you go to a Comic-Con, you go to a comic convention where people are buying big time, Silver Age, Golden Age comic books, they're collectors. They're not flipping. Mm-hmm. They're not flipping early Marvel and, Golden Age DC stuff. They're buying it. They're holding it. I'm not saying there's not flippers in that stuff, but I'm just saying it reminds me of that when we look at pop culture cards. It seems like there's more of an end collector or like kind of an end buyer, a collector buying those cards in sight.
Bushliggers has a comment at 927 that I want to address.
All right, we're going to go back to Sam Darnold. Bo, we're going to come back to you. We'll switch gears over to that in a second. Jeez, they just come in hot and heavy here. All right, Bush.
Well, yeah, we get talking. You can't keep up. It says Disney's going down the shitter. Now, I don't know if that's a joke. Yeah, I don't know if that's a joke. I don't know if he's talking about the business because, Disney World is not getting as much business and things. I don't know what he's talking about on the grand scheme of Disney. And I don't know what he's talking about as far as Disney cards. So I don't want to come off as I'm being offensive with my response to this, but because again, I don't know what is but I can say that if you've done your research on the card that we're talking about, and I'm not talking about Disney or Lorcana, I'm not talking about the modern Kakawa or whatever that stuff is, that gets a super push of hype up front when it comes out, then drops off, just like any sports card. You can just say modern cards altogether are hyped when they come out, and then they lose value as new products come out. That's just a fact with all modern, whether it be pop culture, baseball, football, basketball, it doesn't matter. And as far as Disney goes today, there are a lot of people that are soured on what they call the Disney agenda, and that's for them to worry. That's for people who are in the politics or things that have their own individual thoughts. I'm not telling anybody how to think. But Walt Disney himself doesn't get grouped in that.
Right.
Because he's been passed on. He's more of an innovator, more of a creator, more of an artist, more of a genius for lack of a better term.
He's more of a he's like a
and he's Americana. And when we're specifically talking about that card, because I don't believe in the value of all Disney cards. I'm talking about that card specifically, the 1931 Walt Disney card. That card, of all the cards that I've bought since the boom, is the only card that hasn't lost value. That is the only card that has held true. Okay. Cards that I've bought and I've sold have gone down in value since I've sold them. Cards that I've bought and I've held have gone down in value, and I regret holding them. That one card, when I bought that Walt Disney card right around the boom of 2020 for $700, it's doubled in price. It's had $1,500 to $1,800 value in sales, and it has held there through 2021, through 2022, through the fear of a recession, through people having lack of or less disposable income, through all of it. That is one card that's in my PC that when I look up the recent sales on it has sustained, it has held. So that just makes me confident in that card in the future. It has seen its good days, and on its worst days, it has held. So it just makes it feel more like a safe card to buy, especially if you want to buy it and hold it long term. It's only going to get older. And it's only going to get more popular as there's more awareness to these types of cards. So And it's pre-war vintage. That stuff doesn't tank as much as some other things.
I mean, the fun part of this too, the speculation is you look back and there's certain things that weren't very collectible 30, 40 years ago that are now very collectible. And these are kind of fun little pockets, that I think we all look into as like, hey, could this be, not only is it cool, it's iconic. That 31 Disney card is obviously an iconic character, a person, and it's the rookie card essentially of that person. And if there is kind of growth in certain areas, other areas, especially, with Fanatics wanting to just grow out trading cards and all this stuff in general, if trading cards in general becomes more popular, then I think that's a good thing, across the board for all.
I don't know what Mike Petty's talking about, but tonight, I'm just going to let loose on comments that I think are idiotic. All
right.
He says 932. He says
my opinions. Where's my disclosure?
932. He said I must be buying pure trash. The 51 Mays couldn't have gone down that much. No, the 51 Mays has not gone down since I bought it. You're right. I'm not going to sit here and go through my entire list of cards that I own and say this has gone down and this hasn't. But to say that the 51 Mays hasn't gone down and the 31 Walt Disney card that I bought has actually doubled in value and then held. The Willie Mays card has not doubled in value. It's held strong. It's held where I've bought it. Okay. But if I sold it today, I'm probably, depending on my buyer, I can make $400 or $500 on it. Maybe. I don't want to sell it today. I love that card. It's part of my PC. But if I was to sell it today, making a $500 profit just isn't worth it. The Walt Disney card that I bought, like I said, has doubled in value and held there. Okay, to say something has doubled in value isn't a big deal when you're talking 2020 because everything went up in price. Everything went up. But lots and lots and lots of it has come down. It's come back. That card has not come back. It has stayed there. So that's all I'm saying is I'm not trying to, again, I'm not mad. I'm not pissed. I'm just trying to talk cards and trying to talk,
going back to
thoughts, common sense thoughts. Like for instance, if you buy a card and it doubles in value, typically if you're a flipper, you sell it, right? If you're flipping, you're strictly in the game for money, you sell it. Man, I'm taking my money, I'm getting out of this card, I'm going to buy something else, and I'm going to hope that it increases in value also. Then sometimes you buy a card, you put it in your PC, you put it away, and you're like, I hope this goes up in value. Then it goes up in value, and that's great. But then something causes it to come back down, like a recession, like we were talking about before. When I see cards that sustain through the bad times, it just gives me confidence in that card. It could be any card. I'm not just applying this to Disney. We could be talking about the 51 Mays. I just haven't seen 100% return on my 51 Mays yet.
Yeah, I think Disney's biggest issue right now is just they're trying to figure out oversaturation, especially on the Marvel side. I feel like there's a new Marvel show / movie like every 3 days. And that's kind of the thing where now everything, like nothing is special anymore with it. You almost expect there to be another, Avengers Endgame type thing that they're going to put out. The other thing that I'm not crazy about, and this is just me, I know a lot of people like the fact that there's 19 different Spider-Mans. It's not just Peter Parker. Now there's Miles Morales and there's this, Spider-Man 2099. There's all these different people and they're going through time. Like for me, it just doesn't really appeal, I kind of like I like that there's like one character. Now we're kind of branching out into like 50 different Supermans and Spider-Mans and all this different stuff. So I don't know. I think that's kind of a challenge, and that's for DC and Warner Brothers as well. Their best movies to me, honestly, that last Batman movie with Robert Pattinson was awesome. I thought that was great. The Joker movies that they're coming out with Joaquin Phoenix, they're good. So there's pockets of things, but I think basically what we're talking about, at least I think what Steve is saying is that for that particular card, you're talking about the guy that started it all. It's going to be the guy that's remembered through time. Like right. They might not remember Secret Invasion or whatever the hell the latest Marvel show is, but everyone is going to like Walt Disney is an absolute legend. And now, the company is one of the, the wealthiest companies with the theme parks and all that. I mean, we're talking like a absolute icon in American history. So
it's like, so you look for cards. And again, I'm saying cards. So I'm talking about all sports and everything. This is not just strictly a pop culture card talk when I'm giving my thoughts here. I'm just saying you look for cards nowadays, especially that you think are going to hold value over time, that are going to transcend to the next generation and things like that. Because a lot of young players cards, a lot of prospects, 1 in 20 might be relevant in 20 years. I have a video. I did a bunch of research for today on NFL quarterbacks. I saw that you put an NFL quarterback video out today, but you just look for specific cards, and it's not even all of the cards, but you look at the 52 Mantle. That card will always be relevant. The 86 Fleer Jordan, and there's a lot of them out there. We know that, but the card will always be relevant. So when I look into, like football, 81 Topps Joe Montana will always be a relevant card. So it's like when I'm looking for stuff that I think is going to maintain relevance over time, but also has the potential to grow a little bit, that's what I'm looking at in the pop culture, the stuff that I want to keep. There is stuff, just like with sports, that I want to buy and I want to sell. I want to buy it 6 months from now. I want it sold. But then there's some stuff I buy that goes into my box, and I'm like, okay, let's see what happens 10 years from now. I saw where Mike was like, I'm sorry, I don't think you'll see the Willie Mays card double in value. And I agree with him. I don't think that it will, but that Willie Mays card will always remain relevant. And I think that over 10 to 15 years, it'll see like a small increase every year, like maybe a 2 to 3% increase every year in value. And I don't think that there's much that will cause that card to see any kind of decrease in value. And if anything, and I'm not trying to sound grim, there is still probably, he's going to pass away as well sometime. So you're probably going to see a small spike and a pullback then. But again, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar rookie cards will always be relevant. That's just there's certain things that'll always be relevant because either the card is iconic, it's a piece of Americana, or the player will just always be talked about, will always transcend the eras. And then there will be stuff that if you don't want it, get rid of it. It might be valuable today, but next year there's going to be a new flavor of the month, right? So, that's just where I'm coming from. I'm trying to find cards that I think will transcend, regardless if it's sports or pop culture.
With Brett here too, this is not like pop culture instead of sports. I think for Steve and I, it's just, this is in addition to, it's, I bought Derek Carr cards this week, and then I bought a Walt Disney rookie card. Here's the other thing too, is there also, I think, comes fatigue with speculating, collecting sports cards. There is some fatigue attached to it. And let's face it. Sports cards especially got very expensive over the last few years. And then, yes, we've had pullback, but there's still a lot of stuff that you're looking at it and you're like, is it still a little bit overpriced? To me, there's a lot of stuff like that. So then it makes me think about what are some other opportunities? Where are some other cool things out there? Because I collect graded comic books and graded video games and all sorts of different things. So if I feel like something is just too expensive, which look at hobby boxes right now for sports cards, they're still 3, 4, 5 times what they were 3 or 4 years ago. That hasn't changed at all. So. And I'm not saying I'm not a hobby box buyer, but it just shows you that new product and a lot of what people like, these new quarterbacks, everyone's spending huge money on Sam Howell and, new quarterbacks, whoever it is. It's like, hell, I'd rather put $500 into a Walt Disney rookie card than $500 into, Sam Howell or, whoever else.
And so when I'm talking pop culture, I haven't done this mail day video yet. You guys have seen, if you follow me on Instagram,
keep
all right, if you follow me on Instagram, you see a lot of these cards ahead of time before I get them out on videos. But these are just, I don't even watch this show, but I know it's popular. These are 2 Walking Dead autographs. This is the first year of Andrew Lincoln as Rick Grimes, and this is the first year of Jeffrey Dean Morgan as Negan. And they're both on-card autos from the television show. And stuff like this, I've been buying fairly cheap that I can slab and I look to resell. I don't know if this stuff has longevity in the marketplace. But then I pick up a card like this one, which is a Goodwin's Champion Stephen King on-card autograph, and I will put this Stephen King away. I'll grade this one, and this will go away in my PC just because someone like Stephen King that's already iconic and famous, and you can say his name to almost anybody and they know who he is. This is the type of card that I will put away just because I think it'll always have relevance. People will always read his books. People will always watch his movies. People are influenced by him, such as, new writers and things like that. So, something like a Stephen King is on the level of somebody that will always be relevant just because his movies and his books, even when he's long gone, will be read and will be watched. So, like I said, the Walking Dead stuff, buy it, grade it, flip it. The Stephen King card, either put it away like this or grade it and put it away. That's where I'm differentiating in what I'm doing with what I'm buying.
But that's what makes it so fun, though, is you can do both of those things. You can do all these things. That's what's so great. Go back to, there was a comment earlier in the night I wanted to talk about it, Steve. Your boy Sam Darnold, and based on Steve buying Sam Darnold, I did buy some low. I probably have, I don't know, maybe $150 on low end Sam Darnold cards. So Steve told me it was going to be amazing. So here we are. How are you feeling about Trey Lance is falling apart? Is Sam Darnold the future in San Francisco?
I mean, I don't know if he's the future. I don't need Sam. Okay, so when I was speculating on Sam Darnold cards, okay, they were so dirt cheap. I'm not necessarily even buying them now because they're getting a little bit of buzz after the first preseason game and all the talk. But all I hoped for was some positive news. His cards were so cheap that it didn't take much of anything other than the fact that people to know that he was still alive and in the NFL for his cards to get a little bit of buzz and to go out and have a first decent preseason game where the guy that he's competing with for the second quarterback spot looked like utter garbage, right? So it's like that's been the talk of the NFL this week, was how bad Trey Lance looked. It wasn't necessarily Sam Darnold looked great, but the news was Trey Lance looked terrible. All right, so
right,
that's just kind of like, hey, I bought a Sam Darnold card for $50. It gets a little bit of buzz and goes up to $75. It's sold. I'm not holding Sam Darnold saying he's going to lead the San Francisco 49ers to a Super Bowl. What I was saying was his cards were so cheap. It doesn't, in this market, with the way that people overreact to football cards. And I'm doing a video. I'm actually putting out a video. Usually I get on my videos and I just talk. I haven't done a video recently where I talk about a lot of research and things that I've done. And I was up early this morning doing a video, and I did about an hour's worth of research and wrote things down. And it's actually a video on not overreacting about quarterbacks and being careful and stuff. So I'm actually putting out a video negating what I'm hoping happens. I'm hoping people overreact to Sam Darnold and I can sell my Sam Darnold cards. But I'm also putting out an awareness video on be careful. Just to give you one example of one of the things I'm going to talk about in this video is, okay, so the reason I'm doing this video is because at the National, at the line going into trade night, there was some younger flippers / collectors in front of me, and I asked them all, I said, so what are you guys looking for? And, they named the who's who's of today's modern day quarterbacks. And then I said to them, so, okay, then what's your reasoning for wanting to acquire those cards of those players? And they told me, well, I think they have long-term value. Now, I'm not that gullible to actually believe that, because I said, I looked at them and I was like, dude, you can tell me that you're a flipper. It's fine. I understand that people flip these young quarterback cards to make money. They almost thought that it would be a bad thing to tell me, hey, yeah, I'm buying them to try to make $1. But I'm not trying to shoot that down. I do that myself. I do that to collect. So I'm not going to say that buying cards cheap and trying to flip them and make money, buying cards that you have zero interest in other than making $1 is not a bad thing, as long as you're careful doing it and you're not doing it for the wrong reasons. You're not doing it because it seems cool, because you're watching your favorite vloggers do it and they do it. And sometimes they make it look easy. And so sometimes you fall in line and you're like, oh, I look up to that vlogger and they're buying and selling this quarterback. So that's what I want to do, because it's not only are they portraying that they're making money off of it, but it also seems cool. I want that lifestyle, right? To the younger crowd, that's kind of like what they can fall into. So today I just put together some stuff, and I was like, okay, let's look at Desmond Ritter. Popular name at the National. Popular name. Jeff Wilson likes him. Bought a high-end card of him. And how quickly we forget about Matt Ryan.
Who actually
Compare the two.
Who actually had a good career.
Compare the two. They're both were on the Falcons. Matt Ryan went to a Super Bowl that he should have won. He didn't. He may have won an MVP that year, but I think he retired top 10 in passing yards. He's also up there somewhere in the top 15 or 20 in passing touchdowns. I mean, by all measures, by all statistical measures, he had a great career. He didn't win a Super Bowl, but he spent a majority of his career with the same team, had success with that team. He won with that MVP. He won with that team. He won an NFL MVP. He was a great quarterback for years, right? Yeah. So,
well, when he wasn't playing the Saints, but
if you take his Topps Chrome, refractor rookie, his Topps Chrome refractor rookie in a PSA 10 is under $150. A Desmond Ritter Prism Silver in a PSA 10 is over $150. The pop count on the Matt Ryan Topps Chrome PSA 10 is somewhere around 95. Let me see. I got my research right here in front of me. So let's see here. The pop count on a Matt Ryan Topps Chrome refractor rookie card in a PSA 10 is 55. The pop count on a Prism Silver Desmond Ritter is 134. Okay. It's almost already triple the pop count of the Matt Ryan. The cards, the Matt Ryan, it's selling for less money than the Desmond Ritter. I get it. I get the hype. I get that there's no more growth for the Matt Ryan card. There's nothing he can do to make that card go up. His career is over with. I understand all of that. I understand that there is room to grow on the Desmond Ritter card, but how much? Okay, if you're in this for a quick flip, I understand that too, because you're playing the hype, you're playing the news, you're playing the fact that he might come out in week 1 or 2 and have a really good game, and you can sell it. But if you're into this and you're saying, I think these guys have long-term value, like these youngsters told me at the trade night, okay, look at Matt Ryan's long-term value. Ask yourself, can Desmond Ritter duplicate Matt Ryan's career? Because if he does, he's one hell of a quarterback. He's probably going to be a Hall of Famer. Is he going to win an MVP? Is he going to retire top 10 in passing yards? Is he going to go to a Super Bowl? But even with all of that in Matt Ryan's portfolio, his Topps Chrome refractor is $150. Less than what you're paying for a Desmond Ritter right now, who has none of those accomplishments, who's going to start his first year in the NFL this year on a team that's not very good. Can he make that team better? That's yet to be known. And if he does, yes, you can quick flip and you can get out of it. But again, I'm going based on these guys telling me they thought they had long-term value. So if your long-term value is Matt Ryan, then your card's not increasing in value. It's already there. It's already maxed out on the long term. It might see spikes between now and then, but if you're planning on holding, be prepared to sell it for the value of a Matt Ryan card. Best case scenario, in my opinion, because I don't think he's going to have a Matt Ryan type career. So just to put that somewhat into a little bit of a perspective.
It's no different than it was 30 years ago with prospecting. But the difference is that now there's just so much more money in it. It's just so, I mean, you think about like 30 years ago when we were kids, there was guys stacking whatever, Greg Jeffries, or, you know, I talked in my video today. One of my buddy's dads was he was a high school football coach. And I remember I was so jealous. He had 89 score football boxes and factory sets, all that stuff in his closet that he was just stashing away. But the difference is now is, you know, you can drop $100,000 on a black finite Mac Jones card. We just saw that, you know, going back last year. You know, there wasn't guys dropping $100,000. And even if you whatever inflation over time, even though it was 1990, it still doesn't equate. There wasn't someone spending, $70,000 on a Greg Jeffries card, in 1990.
I see Blue Thunder TD has a comment at 950 where he says people just like to gamble. I understand that if we're talking about short-term flipping, but this whole comment that I addressed was based on the fact that I was being told that people were buying these because they thought that they had long-term appeal. I don't know the last time somebody gambled in hopes of getting their payoff or their loss 15 years down the road. So if I gamble, I want my payoff as soon as possible, correct? If you want to gamble on something, you're basically like, all right, because you can go put in a parlay NFL ticket if you really want to gamble by the definition of really, really gambling. But if you're gambling, I think that kind of takes away the long-term appeal. Because I don't know of many people that gamble and are like, okay, I'm going to gamble $100 today, and I hope that it makes me $500 that it'll pay me out 15 years from now. Right? $500 15 years from now is not a lot of money. $500 in a 6-month turnover, no, that's a different story.
Yeah. Yeah, this comment from John Wolf. What do you guys think about Jeff Wilson hyping up vintage autos? Honestly, and I haven't seen specifically, I saw that he bought like an 89 score Barry Sanders. That was a PSA 10 auto 10. So I know he is buying some of that stuff. That's not technically a vintage card, but I've seen this all over the place though, John. I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't attribute. I know Jeff Wilson's always kind of the easy target for everything, but I've seen a lot of folks talking about vintage autos. I've seen Golden Auctions as marketing. I mean, we just saw, I don't know which auction house had it, but there was a 52 Topps Mantle that was signed that went for $500,000, went for $5, and it was like a PSA 2 or a PSA 3 that was autoed. So, I mean, there's a lot of this stuff going around that has nothing to do with Jeff, but I don't know if you have like a specific card or something that he was talking about, we can address that. But I've seen this all over the place. Steve and I saw too at the National. There was a boatload. I've never seen so many. One thing that struck me was like Roger Staubach. So it'd be like Roger Staubach rookie card, auto grade 10, signed. And we just saw tons of that. All sorts of different but the Staubach caught me off guard because I hadn't seen he's obviously Hall of Famer, great player, but just seeing all of the different variety at the National was incredible.
And as far as again. People have been talking about, okay, let's get a rookie card signed and slabbed because this person played when there wasn't pack pulled autographs. So you're talking about lots of older stuff getting signed, getting slabbed. And people have been talking about it for a long time. It's been happening somewhat long before Jeff Wilson talked about it again. It's just people don't tend to start paying attention until Jeff says something. So, if you're listening, if you're paying attention to other content, then you know that it's been going on for a long time. Or if you've even been going to shows or been out buying and things like that, then you know as well. One card that I wanted to get at last year's National at a trade night was the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar autograph rookie card. But you know how many he signed at the National this year? There was people in lines with multiples of his rookie cards. That's what people are getting signed now because now they're like, oh, there's going to be a huge market. There was a huge market for it because it was a little more rare. But now they are starting to flood. Those Kareem Abdul-Jabbar autograph rookie, now it's kind of like, to make it special, you got to pick the one that's got a different inscription or something on it. It's like there's tons and stuff of them out there now. Like the 89 Upper Deck Griffey. At one time, having that autograph seemed very special and very rare. But Griffey's still around and going to be around for a long time signing autographs. And people going to shows to stand in line to get his autographs now are probably going to be taking his cards up there as long as they think that there's value on the secondary market for it, more so over an 8x10 or a jersey or a baseball. Because it does seem that right now, sports cards and the popularity sets them, is more valuable than memorabilia. Like actual memorabilia. Go look at a rare autograph card of like Steph Curry, and then go look at an autographed basketball of him. It's probably cheaper to buy the basketball. So, again, I think a lot of that a lot of that is just going to hit the market. I've been looking for the Larry Bird Magic Johnson Julius Erving, which is the Bird Magic rookie card. And I saw 2 of those at the National. And when I was looking at one at the National, and the price on it was marked at a price, and I didn't even know what it was worth. And I asked them the price. They told me I'm a little bit above market price on it. And then I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, if a card is rare like this, how does it have a market price on it unless? So then I comped it and I looked at eBay, and there's been multiple sales. There's multiple listings. I'm like, I remember when I couldn't find that card, when I was like, man, I wish I could find the triple Bird Erving Magic rookie card that someone has gotten graded or slabbed.
Yeah.
And it was hard to find 2 years ago. It's hard to find 2 years ago.
Even
and now
Rob Sports Card Therapy even got one now.
But now people are telling me that there's a market value on it, which means there's enough of them being transacted that you can establish an actual price on it. So there's just going to be more of them. I held off this year because I'm like, would I still love it? Do I still think it's awesome? Yes, I do. Do I think it's going to come down? So these are graded. Both of the ones I saw graded were in a 4.5. One of them was Rob's, and they were priced at like $5,500. The market value is they're selling between $4,000 and $4,500, which they did. Fair enough. They did tell me they were priced above market. But I'm just thinking to myself, this card's going to come down. There's going to be more and more of them. This is what people are doing now. Right. It's not that they're actually printing the card, but they're manufacturing the card by getting them signed, slabbing them, and there's just going to be more and more of them available. Someday I'm going to be able to get that card for half the price of for what it's going for now. So I held off, and that was a card that I really, really liked, and I'm just now it just makes sense to hold off. It just feels like. I mean, I saw videos of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar signing his autograph cards at the National. I also heard stories that they were upcharging. Did you hear about that?
Yeah, based on the grade or something.
Based on the grade, he had his own grader with him,
which is crazy.
So he had his own grader with him. I don't know who they worked for, who they were certified with. Maybe they were with another company. I'm not sure. But from what I understand, if you went to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and had him sign a rookie card, that person then would give it a raw grade assessment. And based on the market value of what that card was going for is what you had to pay to get him to sign it.
Dude, is like they're all 10s.
If you bought a ticket to get Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's autograph or whatever it was going for, $300, $400, $500, I don't know how much he was charging basically for his autograph. But if you bought a ticket and you stood in line for 3 or 4 hours, which I understood it was at least that long, and you got up there with your rookie card, that grader could sit there and say, hey, this is going to grade a 7. The value of this card is $5,000. If you want him to sign this card, you got to pay $5,000, even though you already bought a ticket to get his autograph. So again, with the big business that's coming to the sports card hobby, that's what we're looking at now. Like we're looking at graders sitting there with the signees, grading the rookie cards that you're bringing up there and now saying, this is how much it's going to cost you because this is how much you can get for it on the secondary market.
Well, yeah. What's the pattern there? What's the pattern? Manufacturers see that there's dudes that are staying the night over at Target to buy $20 blasters that they can sell for $60. So now this year, now a couple years later, blasters are $40 or whatever. They want a piece of that secondary market. Grading companies, PSA upcharges. Why is that? Because they want a piece of that pie. And now the athletes are like, wait, hold up. If I sign this card, it goes up 5 times. Well, I want a piece of that pie. I want a piece of that secondary market.
Hey, and I saw all the extra costs for inscriptions, even to get Kareem, because, if you get a pack pulled autograph these days out of Flawless or National Treasures or something of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, it's signed Abdul-Jabbar. And every year they're getting shakier and shakier as he gets older. That's not me poking fun. I'm just saying they're not as smooth. The autos aren't as smooth as they used to be. But yeah, each individual, if you wanted Hall of Fame, if you wanted different things on it.
Yeah.
I heard that story the morning that I went and bought my autograph. I had heard that story about people waiting in line, being charged up, being charged for inscriptions. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to go try to find the rarest Kareem Abdul-Jabbar autograph in this place. And that's when I bought the Lou Alcindor autograph. That's signed Lou Alcindor. It's not signed Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. It's his original name. And you couldn't pay him to inscribe that on a card.
Yeah, how much would that have cost for him to write Lou Alcindor on a rookie card?
Right. So even though it's on an old tattered business card that belonged to somebody, that signature to me is like, I think it's awesome. I've already been offered almost twice of what I paid for it on Instagram from an interested buyer. And I'm not interested in flipping it right now because I think that has a lot of long-term value on it.
Yeah, I want to address what John said right here because I hadn't really thought about it, but it makes a lot of sense, especially, and you can, I think, attest to this being at the National. There is social currency, social value to having kind of that hot rookie. If you kind of guess right or you buy in, like Baker Mayfield a couple years ago, or Jordan Love, or whoever it is coming up to the season, or it's that first Bowman, whatever baseball prospect, you can show up with at trade night with a bunch of cool vintage cards. And there might be a couple of people, like I had a couple of people ask me about my Unitas 4. I have a Unitas rookie and a 4 and a 6. I brought the 4 with me. I had a couple of people ask me about the 4, but nobody stopped by. I mean, like if I compare how many people asked me about my Unitas trade night compared to how many people asked about some random, Sam Howell or whoever the hot rookie QB was, at trade night, it wasn't even in the same world. So I can understand if you're like, if you're going to the National to talk to people and to be social and you want to have, obviously you're thinking to yourself, I want to have cards that people are interested in. And that's what people want to talk about. So I just think that was a cool comment, John, because it is true at card shows for sure.
Yeah. Like when I was talking about prospecting on young quarterbacks earlier, I'm not shitting on prospecting. I'm not shitting on prospecting and trying to flip. That's the game that we play. That makes it fun. I get it. I understand it. But I also got to understand what could be waiting for me down the road if I don't spend my money correctly, if I don't get in and out of my cards at the right times. Like I said, what I talked about earlier was based around the fact that there was people telling me that I think that these have long-term value. And they may have long-term value, but will their long-term value ever be as valuable as they are at their peaks? Often someone has a peak and then even their long-term value at the end is less. You know what I mean? Some people never peak because they just never turn into anything. Again, so that's why I use the Desmond Ridder. That's why I use the Desmond Ridder comparison to Matt Ryan. The prices you're paying for Desmond Ridder right now, even if he has a Matt Ryan type career, you're looking at the cards being the same price if you hold him for the entirety of his career. They're being the same price now as they will be 12, 15, 16 years, whatever his career may be. It might be 5 years, it may be 1 year. He could stink it up for 6 weeks this year and get replaced. Who knows? I don't know. So, yeah, prospecting is the name of the game. I mean, you got to get in and out. You got to be smart what you buy. Your price point's got to be right. You got to have an end game for the card. But if your end game is long-term hold on someone who's never really played, then just look at other people that have been in similar situations as the player that you're buying and be like, okay, they had a really successful career. Did they sustain long-term value?
A vintage card collector makes it's a good point. And it just, again, it's going to add to that nuance that we're talking about. So at the National, you saw a ton of beat up, 89 Griffey Jr. rookie, and it's got an auto 10 and it's $199. But what's going to happen probably is there's going to be added supply of that. And then all the cream will rise to the top. And you kind of nailed it here with this higher grade cards with the auto 10. I don't have a lot of this stuff, but I do have a Greg Maddux 87 Tops, I believe it is. Tops traded maybe. But it's a 10-10, so it's a 10 grade and it's a 10 auto. And I got that specifically for that nuance. And it was $300, so it wasn't like I paid a massive premium for the 10-10. But I think that's really kind of where it goes is it a 10-10 or if it's something that's more rare, kind of an older vintage card, higher grade, with that 10 auto, it's going to all boil down to the nuance of that grading.
It always just kind of boils down to the higher the grade, whether you're talking modern or vintage, the higher the grade, the more valuable the card, at least the perception of value on the secondary market. That could change. We don't know how grading is going to go in the future, but yeah, an upper deck '89 Upper Deck Ken Griffey Jr. and a PSA 8, people are probably getting that autograph to try to add value to it, because that card on standalone value isn't worth that much. So then at what point do you say I'd rather have a Griffey on a different card, on a pack pulled auto?
Right.
Because the autograph doesn't make this card, or the card doesn't make the autograph special, because it's a PSA 8 of a massively produced card. And the autograph isn't necessarily that special, because I can get better cards now with his autograph on it. The only thing that would make this card better is a higher grade. Well, I think that grade will play into it, but that's because grade will play into it whether it's autographed or not.
I had this happen. I was at the National, but I was going to ship cards to SGC for grading, and they were looking at, what's in the box, and they've got to take pictures for insurance purposes. And the guy was kind of going through the cards and putting them out. And I was like, oh my God, please don't, don't smash them down. I can kind of relate to this.
And I've seen a lot of cards at the National that were just slabbed authentic with autograph grades on them. I mean, with autograph, they didn't even have the card graded. And a lot of it was, 80s, late 80s, early 90s, what we refer to as the junk wax era. A lot of people don't like that term. Well, not a lot. I know somebody that doesn't. I don't care. I'm going to say it. It's just easy to say, and we all can relate and understand what we're talking about. And, I felt like those cards were autographed to try to make the cards valuable, because on standalone value, or a standalone, they weren't. You know what I mean? A PSA 8, 1987, say Greg Maddux, Donruss rated rookie, isn't worth that much money. Now you throw an autograph on it, you're at least hoping to get more than the value of what you paid to have it signed. You're trying to make the card relevant by getting an autograph on it. Now it's just a matter of, if you pay $50 for Greg Maddux to sign it, can you now sell it for $100 and make money? I don't know what he charges for an autograph. I just threw $50 out there as an example. So, and then find somebody that's willing to buy it, because you can get nice Greg Maddux pack pulled autographs all day long.
True. Yeah. I guess it's just, if you want to.
So the grade makes it important.
It's kind of like, man, wouldn't it be cool if they had pack pulled autographs back when these guys were rookies? Oh, wait, we have this idea. We can create these, these rookie cards.
Look, we're like an hour into the live stream already. It doesn't even feel like we haven't got to talk anything about fantasy football yet. I wanted to set up tonight to try to get the chat to help me name my fantasy football team. I'm going to put out a poll either later tonight or in the morning. So check my YouTube in the morning, guys. I might have a poll out there with like 4 fantasy football names that I want you guys to vote on. I'll pick one of them to be my fantasy football team name. If you guys got any thoughts, put in the comments now for me also, because I only have 2 or 3 off the top of my head, and I need 4. So I want to nominate one of the that's messed up, Mike Petty. You trying to call me overweight? But
they're calling you overweight, and I'm getting dreamy over here. I'm getting dreamy
in the
comments.
He said fat flippers. That's okay, man. I'm comfortable in my own skin. All of it. But
Steve's the Kingpin. If you know, like the Marvel character, the Kingpin, that's Steve.
See, now Dustin's like Buffalo Bob. He wants to wear a skin suit and tuck his wiener back and dance.
Put the lotion in the basket.
I'm comfortable in my own skin, though.
We just went way over everyone's head there.
Flipping streamers. I don't know. I was going along to think of something that you guys know that I like rock and roll related, that can go with, and it's got to kind of have like a trash talk in the thing too. Like I was thinking, I don't know. One of the ones I was thinking about was Better Than the Rest, because it's like a play on Better Than the Rest, but I say Vedder because I'm an Eddie Vedder fan. Or I heard Michael Hamm was going to call himself Ham, Eggs, and Neo's Legs, but I'm not sure.
What? Holy God. Is it too late for me to get out of this thing?
I don't know. Ham was like, man, I got my name. I'm like, what is? He's like, Ham, Eggs, and Neo's Legs. I'm like, I don't even want to know.
Perfect. All right. Well, can't wait. Yeah. So Mike Petty, when I'm 80, I think Mike Petty's a little bit older than me. He'll be 103. And
look, I got Michael Hamm.
I got
Michael Hamm to show up. We got Michael Hamm to show up. I was also thinking about going with Smokey Robinson's Love Child. That might be a good one.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, that could be a good one, too. Oh, Lord. Steve
Oh,
just
Lord.
picked on. I'm going to drink this whole thing of Ginger Soother during this live stream. I have to use the bathroom so bad.
I'm going to be my usual Super Bowl Saints all day. I'm going to draft probably half the Saints on my team.
Okay, so I got a good question for you, and I'll put this question out the chat too. All right, guys, if you play fantasy football, guys and gals, if you play fantasy football and you're on the clock, 1-1, you're picking, you have the whole entire field to go by. 1 point, full point PPR, point for 10 yards receiving or rushing, 6 point receiving, rushing touchdowns, 6 point passing touchdowns. You might want a quarterback. I don't know who would do that. Who are you going with? Right now, the consensus has been Justin Jefferson and Christian McCaffrey. Not Ed McCaffrey, but
I think his dad.
But they're back and forth. I do tons and tons of mock drafts. I've done a couple mock drafts today. It's more so, I don't know. I think it's evenly been in a lot of the mock drafts I've been in. It's been evenly McCaffrey and Justin Jefferson.
Here's the thing that makes me nervous about a guy like Jefferson is, and I think I've got Michael Thomas-itis, where as a Saints fan, this guy lit it up for years, and then he hasn't played football in 2 years due to injury. Eventually, these guys, I just feel like they're due for, some sort of, and not season ending or whatever, but they're due to be out half the year on an ankle or whatever. So that's always kind of the hang up with me and some of these guys.
I'm never scared to draft of a player based on injury. You can't predict injury.
I'll take Patrick Mahomes, even though it's PPR, even though you don't do that, even though that's not what you're supposed to do. I would take Patrick Mahomes over all the other quarterbacks.
Well, yeah, with all the other quarterbacks, that makes sense, but you're not taking him at the 1-1 or the 1.1.
I might consider it.
Really? You get him in the third. I like this already. You save all the good running backs and receivers for me in the first round.
I've got all the under the radar receivers and running backs that's not even on their radar.
There's a reason why they're under the radar.
No, man. Every year, I had Arian Foster when he was a rookie. I'm ready for this thing. The
only thing that would scare me off of a receiver is that your receiver also depends on the quarterback. So now you're talking about you got to have good quarterback play. You got to have a quarterback that's going to stay healthy.
Which, by the way, hold that thought. So, I'm watching that show Quarterback on Netflix, and I'm watching how many shots Kirk Cousins takes because their offensive line sucks. And it's not out of the question that Kirk Cousins misses time.
So I have a question for you since you're a Saints fan, though.
Yeah.
Which wide receiver would you rather have on your fantasy team, Chris Olave or Michael Thomas?
Definitely Olave.
Olave's going early. He's like a third round. I don't think he makes it out the third round.
Yeah, Olave's our playmaker, but Michael Thomas could surprise. It's just that Thomas, I want to pick up Thomas because nobody else is going to pick him halfway through the draft type thing, but yeah, it's Olave all day between those two.
Mike Petty getting at you about talking about taking Patrick Mahomes with the 1-1. Hey,
I get it, but
I'm all down with that.
It's kind of like I pick defenses in like the 8th, 9th round, and people are like, why are you taking a defense? Because I want the number one defense. Why are you taking a kicker? I want the number one kicker.
I will say that running back gets thin very quickly. And now with Ezekiel Elliott signing with the Patriots, that bumps Ramondre Stevenson from a late round, early third pick, probably to round 4 for me. And with Dalvin Cook signing with the Jets, it definitely bumps Breece Hall out of round 4, wherever he was kind of falling. I was also already scared of injury. Now, when I say I don't draft based on injury, I'm not talking about someone's going to a season fully healthy. I don't say, hey, this person's injury prone. I don't draft thinking someone's injury prone. But I will draft if someone is coming off of a bad injury. that they might get a slow start to the season, like a Breece Hall. You saw it with Cam Akers and J.K. Dobbins last year. They had the same bad knee injuries, and even though they were ready to go in like week one, they're not full go. You know what I mean? They're sharing touches. Their burst isn't there. They got to regain their confidence that their leg is going to hold up and things like that, a mental thing with the player. So a lot of things like that I take into account. But if someone misses a couple weeks here, there, whatever, I drafted Saquon Barkley last year in the second round because that was his ADP. He was falling in the second round in all drafts. The drafts I was in, people weren't touching him. They were like, oh, he's going to get hurt again. He always gets hurt. And I took him, and I won championships in 2 leagues because I had an RB1 that I drafted, I guess, probably about 18th overall, early to late second round.
We'll see. We'll see about that.
He was my RB2. I mean, he was my RB2, and he ended up as my RB1. He allowed me to trade away my RB1, which was Dalvin Cook. And one of my big money casino leagues last year, I took Dalvin Cook, Saquon Barkley. I went double hero running back. And then I was a little soft at receiver, and I ended up trading away Dalvin Cook for Ramondre Stevenson and Mike Evans. And after that, it was done. I basically moved Barkley into my RB1, Stevenson into my RB2, and then it gave me a nice receiver as a wide receiver 2/flex, and was killing it after that because I had AJ Brown as my wide receiver 1.
We're in a 12-man league, not a 10-man league. So these rosters they're going to be a little thin. It's not like a 5 to 8-man league where you've got stacked rosters all over the place. I mean, a 12-man league, it's a little thin.
Yeah.
I might have to do that, Bob.
Well, yeah, 10 team league, it's kind of like everybody has a stacked roster and you just need to get lucky. Now, you do need luck in fantasy football. You do. You need people to stay healthy, things like that. But with a 12 team is a little bit more thin.
Well, look, just as important as your draft is who you're picking up along the way, too, on the waiver wire. Because there's a lot of I've had a lot of years where I've done well where you're grabbing somebody off the waivers halfway through the year, and it's made all the difference.
Well, for me last year, that was Justin Fields. My quarterback drafted last year was a complete bust, but of course I waited to the end to take my quarterback. I took Russell Wilson. He was a complete bust.
Yeah.
And I picked up Justin Fields off waivers, and then after that, my team rolled. That was like my weakest spot on my team because I always drafted my quarterback late. I'd like to fill in my other positions, my position players first. Yeah.
It'll be good. There's a lot of weapons in the league, so there's a lot of opportunities. All right, we're at an hour 18. I went to a 50 Cent concert last night, got home at 1 a.m. and had to get up at 5:30. So I'm running on fumes. Steve, I'm going to have to wrap this up here soon. Any last thoughts as we head into the home stretch?
Yeah, just thoughts on what? Because I could talk all night. I'm just kidding.
Pick something.
You got thoughts on the fantasy football coming up. The NFL's coming up. It's we're getting around that time of the year where everybody looks forward to football pretty much. It's going to be fun, not just card related, but the fantasy football league is going to be fun. Guys, make sure you follow the fantasy football league. It is for a good cause. If you guys aren't aware, anybody in chat, I put out a video on the fantasy football league, but it is 12 content creators, all from different, multiple different types of content creators, small content creators, big content creators. And we're all in $100 fantasy league, and all the $1,200 proceeds is going towards my national giveaway trip for next year. I don't even know if I want to call it my national giveaway anymore because with everybody contributing into the league, it's like our national trip, and that's
I'm
awesome that it's
taking credit for it. So yeah, Steve.
I got the ball started, and for the last 3 years, I give away trip to the national. And this year, I reached out to some other content creators with Dustin and was like, "Hey, let's do this league. It's very minimal amount of money, but all of us together chipping in can make it a great memory for somebody, and we can have fun doing this league also." We can create content off of this league. We can make trash talk. You guys can cheer for your favorite content creators. You can boo your least favorite. I already know. Every Tuesday is going to be a smack talk video for me. Every Tuesday is going to be the Tuesday smack talk. And if I win my game, I'm going to be talking about how I destroyed somebody. And if I lose my game, I'm going to be making up excuses as to why I lost and how I was cheated. So I already got my smack talk videos lined up, and it'll just be super fun. Just follow along with it if you want, guys.
Yeah, ideally too.
Yeah.
Steve's done such a great job over the last 3 years with the giveaway. I got Jeff Wilson and Chris, baseball card collector, investor, dealer, are going to be involved in the league, among others. But they have very large channels. So hopefully maybe they talk about it. They get the word out. We can make it a larger giveaway, or maybe they do something themselves or whatever. So it kind of like what Steve started, like you just said, kind of build off of that. And, that would be really, really cool. So just have more awareness, to what's going on. And Steve doesn't have to, front the bill for the whole thing next year.
No, and that was never the thing. Like I didn't
Well,
mind
I know
that.
Yeah, I know.
My biggest thing was always hoping that it would spill over into something bigger, not bigger for myself. I don't need that. I don't need to spill over to something bigger for myself, but it would spill over to something bigger for the winner. Maybe it would get somebody else out there who has a bigger platform to grow the giveaway or do a giveaway of their own. It would just maybe influence an influencer to do something for somebody else. And it's happening. Like, it just felt awesome. I put that video out asking 11 content creators to join it. And I honestly thought it would take days to weeks to where I would have to reach out to people and be like, hey, you want to be in my league? Hey, you want to be in my league? And my Instagram feed filled up so fast with people that were like, I want this. I want to be in this. I want to be in this. And to the point to where I had to leave people out. And then that felt bad, having to leave people out. But, it was just cool to see that response. And I never really talked much coming out of the National this year about myself and where I stood with my content. My National content got great feedback from everybody. I appreciated that. It gave me a newfound drive and motivation to want to put out more content because people were telling me that they enjoyed my videos. And I was like, I want to do more videos now for the people that enjoy it, not necessarily to get new people, but if people like my content, then I want to be able to put more videos out for them. So I've been trying to keep up with more content. I have an SGC reveal that'll be here. This is guaranteed money in this box, guys. So if you want to know what kind of cards that you can buy to grade, to flip, and make yourself money pretty much guaranteed at no risk, that'll be this SGC reveal here.
Simon,
and that's not clickbait.
Simon nailed it here. If I'm 1-1, it's Derek Carr all day.
Right.
Let's go. All right, Steve, I'm going to pass out. I got to go.
All right, man, I'm good too. I'm going to do some mock drafts, prepare to beat some fools down.
I'm going to go study tape on all these guys from last year, so I'm ready for this draft coming up. But hey, guys, thank you very much for joining us. We will be back in 2 weeks, maybe sooner. Maybe we'll do kind of a surprise live or something. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, we got football season right around the corner. My Saints just destroyed the defending Super Bowl champ Chiefs.
Oh, Lord.
So, there's a lot of momentum in New Orleans right now. So everyone stay tuned. All right, guys.
Was that the Chiefs Super Bowl team on the field that night?
No, that's not relevant, Steve.